What's up, guys? So I'm back to talk about the latest two videos that were released between today and yesterday by Real Radman. He released a video yesterday, Chicago gameplay, and today at Sonoma with the Haley Deegan truck. So I'm going to talk a little bit about yesterday first. He changed up the settings, and apparently he enjoys more of a pack type of racing. So he did have the field narrow. I'm glad he put it because I'm curious to see how that works. And it surprisingly, after a few laps, they do start spreading out, and you don't see those clumps of cars like we did last year. But the first few laps, or on every restart, or just the beginning of the race, it reminds me a lot of NASCAR Heat 3, not in a bad way, but where everybody's packed up together and going into corners 3, 4 wide sometimes. So I could see the excitement there, stuff like that. I do prefer the more wide field spreading because for me it's more realistic at most tracks. There are some tracks where the field kind of stays in more of a pack, right? But for the most part, at most tracks, the field does start spreading out almost right away, usually after a lap or two. But it looked good. Um, I saw some cool stuff. The only thing that is a little concerning, and it's not a big deal, is that sense of well, not the speed, but that closing rate between the player and other cars. Usually, it's a lot worse at the back, right? If you start at the back, I know that the tail end of the field is slower than the front. I get it. But I do think that at some point they need to think about tightening that up a little bit and maybe just giving uh, some of the cars in the field a little bit more of a speed boost. Because I've noticed in almost every gameplay video, the players are the closing rate into a corner. A lot of the time, it's a little too much. But I'm not, maybe I'm being nitpicky. It's not that big of a deal for the most part. I really thought it was great. And yeah, once you know, the back half of the field, he was able to work his way up pretty decently. But once he got to the midpoint or the mid pack, yeah, it looked tough. It looked plenty competitive, and and tire wear is a big deal. You could see all of that. So for the most part, that was really good gameplay video, and it kind of helped quell some of my fears with the competitiveness. I think that it's going to be a track to track thing, but I was pretty satisfied with it for the most part. But today we got the road course video at Sonoma with him driving Haley Deegan's truck, and he went through the settings really quick. So I checked on it a couple times and I put it in slow mo. I wanted to make sure how he had everything set, because with yesterday's video there was one thing I'm not a fan of, but it's part of the options. It's good that we all have options. But he put the AI, I guess the ability to recover from contact. He put it on I don't remember what it was, but in other words, the AI was sensitive to contact. And some of it was realistic, right? When going into these speedways, it doesn't take a lot to spin a guy out. And he was, like I said, the closing rate at times, it's really high. It's really fast. So he got into a couple of people and they spun out, so that was all great. But there are times in the race where you're making contact that shouldn't be that bad, and these guys are really looking like they're going to lose it. So that's personally not the way I want to race. And I think that the sweet spot is going to be mostly leaving everything on normal. But again, I love it. I love that there are options. There's plenty of people who are going to love racing like that. And being able to really get that AI loose and out of control. Not for me. I think normal seems to be what's working out the best. Again, we'll wait and see. It's trial and error. But today he put everything it was all on normal. And I think it was 2 times tire wear, which also to me seems like the optimum setting. I think that 3 and 4, the tires do start wearing out really quick. And for somebody like myself who runs long races, it's a little much. So I think 2 times tire wear is just the right balance. Again, I'm going to find out myself. But I loved what I saw. This is one of the most impressive gameplay videos I've seen up to this point because it really highlights a couple of things. The physics, if you walk away from watching this video, which I'm going to put the link in the description box, and still say, the physics, they suck, or I'm not, I'm still worried about the physics, I don't know what to tell you. I think that maybe at this point, you might consider that your expectations are unrealistic, or maybe you're looking for simulator physics. If I think most people would look at this and be really impressed. I was. He hit the curb a couple times, and it looks real. A couple times he got in the grass, and he didn't completely lose it. Like with past games, it was like hitting a sheet of ice, and there was no way once you got into the grass you were going to lose it. And no, he just got off the gas, and the truck settled itself, and he was able to keep going. And yeah, he lost a spot or two here and there, which that's what should happen. But he was able to keep going. In the very beginning, he got into the back of someone, and he moved them. It was that classic bump and run. So you're able to make more contact here without it being like so sensitive, which is perfect. I think having that at normal is the right way to go. But you're able to move the truck or the car. He got into him, and he got squirrely, and he moved up. So you can do bump and run, and then not long after that, he moved Matt Crafton off the track without touching him. They were going into a tight corner, and Radman was getting tight. So you could tell he was having a hard time turning, but he was sort of washing up the track, not out of control, but waiting for the truck to settle. But yeah, if it's too tight, it's going to plow. And he was plowing slowly up, and Crafton was up sort of in front of his front fender. But instead of making contact, he was moving up because he knew that the truck was underneath. So that is sense of awareness. I loved seeing that. That was surprising and in a good way. So I love that. And I do remember Sean Wilson mentioning that, yeah, there are going to be times where the AI is just going to try to avoid you. And sense of awareness has been a problem up to this point. So that looks really promising. I loved seeing that. He kept going up into the grass. He just trying to avoid contact. I loved that. That was amazing. So I loved everything I saw. Also, kudos to Radman. I mean, the guy, I assume he's playing on a controller. I know that's how he normally plays. I was really impressed. I'm not really that good on road courses, but I could tell that you really have to be careful not to overdrive or to really smash the throttle. You're not going to be able to just stomp your foot in and out of the gas. You're going to have to learn how to roll and ease in and out of the gas to keep control of the vehicle. That's great. And I think this game is really going to separate the people with talent from those who are not as talented. And that leads me to just say, I think people who spend time in online multiplayer, they're going to love this too, because it is going to separate the men from the boys. It's going to really, you're going to be able to distinguish who's got real talent and who doesn't, and spread the field. You know, last year and the year before, you had guys who may be really good and other guys who may not be as good, but these cars are still kind of nose to tail, and you could kind of keep up with somebody just because the physics weren't there. And now, yeah, if you're good, you got to learn. You're going to learn to be good. You better learn to be good, because you're not going to be able to overdrive these trucks or these cars on every lap or slam on the gas or the brakes and just overdrive, because you're not gonna have success. So I love that, and I think that this bodes well for online. So I'm really excited about this. The road course video may be the most impressive I've seen. Also, the field spread out, and it allows you to, take on the next car or the next truck one lap at a time and just not worry about clumps of cars all together, where now you have to force the truck or the car into a bad spot where you don't want to be, just because if I don't do this, if I don't make these crazy moves, I'm never going to have a chance to pass, because you're passing not just one car, you're passing a train. So that's why making the field spread out, that's why that's so important, and it's more realistic. I loved it. The sound, again, it's amazing. The trucks don't sound like the Cup cars. These guys really went all out. I'm loving it, and I'm as excited as I've ever been. And it looked really tough. So I'm impressed with the way he was driving, because I'm not that good on road courses, and it looked tough. He was running 16th at one point, and if he didn't have a caution, he wasn't going to get that far. You could tell he probably would have ended up, if he kept everything nice, without losing control. Yeah, maybe top 13, top 12, but I love that. And the only way he was able to really make up ground was on restarts, which we know these I think road courses might be the hardest to program the AI, because on every game I've ever played, you can just overdrive and outbrake the AI, especially in the first turn of every road course, and that's usually where you make up time. So it's tough to do it. So I think that they did a commendable job. There wasn't anything I could see in this video that I could really point out and complain about. I loved it. Towards the end, there was one point where he made a sharp turn. He did not hit the curb. At first, I thought he hit the curb because the truck almost went on two wheels and it slammed back down. So that was the one weird moment. But I'm not willing to say that wasn't unrealistic. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. I just thought it was a cool moment. I didn't have an issue with it. And towards the end, he just wanted to do something crazy for the hell of it. And he just launched the car off a curb, and the truck flew up in the air and almost into the fence. So, alright, that wasn't the most realistic thing, but it was cool. I mean, it's a fucking video game. At the end of the day, I don't mind that. And if you launch that truck full speed into a curb, into a corner, you know what? If something crazy like that's going to happen, that's cool. So I don't have a problem with that. I loved everything I saw. It's really good stuff, man. I'm excited. I feel like a kid waiting for Christmas. Christmas can't come fast enough. So those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you disagree or agree with my thoughts? And let me know what you think. This stuff is looking really good. And we are a little more than a week away. So I can't wait. I ordered the gold package. And I'm really doing this, hoping that Amazon delivers early. I've seen this happen with other games, other big titles that people are expecting, and then all of a sudden you see that people get the game a day or two early. I don't know how it happens, but it does happen from time to time. So I'm doing this, hoping that I get the game a little earlier than I'm supposed to. Who knows? You never know. But in either case, I'm pumped up, and I look forward to your comments. Later.